Dana was truly a kind-hearted person with so much talent. He was committed to his family and being a good husband, father, brother, son, and uncle. Dana's intellect was off the charts. If he put his mind to it, there was almost no problem he could not solve. You cannot speak of Dana and not talk about the musical talent. He was well known for his skillful guitar and playing bass, just like his father, Bobby Ray Fletcher, and he performed and recorded with many notable artists over the years. I will miss our debates and brother-sister struggles. I am fortunate to have known him for 39 years. My life has been better for it, and many others who had the pleasure of knowing him would say the same. Dana is irreplaceable to us. His view of the world and constant jokes will be missed for the rest of my days. Those are the humble words of Radia Fletcher, Dana's oldest sister. I can't even imagine to put myself in the shoes of Dana Fletcher's family. They are not only having to deal with the unexpected loss of a cherished family member, they are facing the pressures of being in the public eye. And for just as much love and support they're receiving, they're also facing criticism and scrutiny. So I wanted to open today's show and help give the audience some insight on who Dana Fletcher was and go beyond the situation that occurred at the Planet Fitness parking lot. Dana was a husband, father, brother, son, uncle, musician, and so much more. He was a human being. He was an American. He was a citizen with rights who lived right here in North Alabama. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about Dana Fletcher, the person. We will also discuss the DA's press conference, our concerns with the continued lack of transparency with the investigation, and reflect on some highlights from Dana's memorial. All this and more on today's episode of Conversations Around the Coffee Table. Let's go. All right, joining me today, I have two members from the crew, Trent and Terrance. Jessica and Anissa could not join us today. Now, our synergy was pretty awesome during the last episode that we had, and we've decided to explore the possibility of coming together at least once a month to take on the topics of social justice and criminal justice reform. Collectively, we are a very enlightened and passionate group of individuals, and we would like to leverage our superpowers by serving and being a voice for our people and the community. Now, because of the logistics of timing, the crew is joining me remotely today. So if the audio sounds like we aren't in the same room, that's because we aren't in the same room. As we get started today, one thing that we've come to learn in Dana's situation and with others that have occurred across the country, there is a race against time to control the narrative about an individual who loses their lives in these types of police shootings. Oftentimes, you'll only find that information is leaked to the media that smears the character of the person involved. The media seemingly finds pictures of the individual that paint them in a negative light, and it's all in an effort to control the narrative about who the individual was. In the information age of today, oftentimes whatever gets out first is considered gospel. And when there is misinformation provided, you rarely see the same amount of energy being displayed to correct the story. So it will be up to us, those who support the family and those who knew Dana, to tell his story. Because unfortunately, he isn't able to do it. And as we reflect back on the memorial service and things that we've seen people share across social media, is there anything that stands out that you've seen that you'd like to share about what you have had a chance to learn about Dana?
Personally, the stories that I've seen about Dana are very positive about the kind of person he was. I think that it's a tragedy. It really is, in the sense that this was apparently a great father. He was a loving husband, and he was very passionate about his craft. This was a person that because I don't know him personally. This is from the stories that I've read. It was brilliant, and so it hurts a little worse knowing they took somebody this brilliant. I'm not saying that everyone doesn't deserve to benefit from somebody's discernment, but I'm saying this person was trying to, make a difference. Have you listened to his music?
I have, actually. One of my fraternity brothers used to play with him when I guess about 2 days after the shooting occurred in one of the online chat groups. I was updating my brothers about the situation that was happening here, and when I posted his name, and at this point I wasn't aware that Dana was a musician, and I happened to be in the music fraternity. And when I posted his name, one of the brothers just jumped right on and was like, "I used to play with him," and he was like, "He was mean on that bass." Once you start to associate others who knew him, it even becomes more real, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that I wanted to highlight from the memorial service was his mother's speech. And when she was talking about him and how she had said that Dana was actually her favorite child, and she agreed. Well, she said that Radia and Shayla would say that Dana was her favorite. And she adamantly stated that he was her favorite. So for a parent to say that they have a favorite child, that really stood out to me about the character of Dana. And she talked about how when she got sick, how him and his wife, they came and took care of her, took care of her while she was sick after I'm not going to say what was going on because I'm not 100% sure and I don't want to say anything wrong, but I just know that she was sick at the time and he did come and take care of her. And another thing that she had said is that Dana knew his rights, and he wanted to exercise his rights as an American citizen. So that's one of the things that we have to take from him, that he was a great man, and he also knew that he was American, and he had rights as a citizen. Right.
And so often we hear coded terms where American and citizen and community are used, and they're used in a context that excludes us. So it's important that we take ownership of being American and being citizens, because they try to exclude us a lot of times when they use those coded terms.
I was struck, kind of listening to the trials and trial stuff, and I was listening to all of the people give their testimony, and I didn't realize how many of those people have immigrated to the United States, become American citizens. And I was like, just listening at the respect that they had for this nation, and then understanding that we built this nation. We built this nation, and we should absolutely be as pride-filled about being American and equally indignant at those who don't recognize that, because this is our country as well, and like you said, we all deserve the same kind of treatment. We are Americans that have to be born black. We didn't win the lottery. We didn't win the lottery, because all it is a lottery. Just imagine, at any point in time, whoever comes in this world just comes here by accident in terms of who you get assigned to. You know what I'm saying? We were born black. That's just it. We didn't commit any crime by that. We're just citizens of America that are black.
Let's change gears just a little bit and go back to the press conference that happened on Friday. Does anyone know if that press conference was planned, or was it just kind of like scheduled out of the blue?
Well, you remember he said they were going to have a deadline for when they were going to close out the case. They were trying to make that deadline. That they were going to announce it. Now, I don't know about that, but I knew that was the date that they were supposed to conclude the investigation, according to them. So I was like, okay, well, they're trying to close it out. But I didn't know that what time they were going on TV or whatever. But I don't catch the news in the morning.
I didn't catch that either. Like when I saw it, it was live. Like one of my clients, I was at work, one of my clients had it on their phone, and I was like, hold up, Dana Fletcher, hold on, let me see what's going on.
Right.
Kind of shocking, like, because we've been on top of like what's going on, where it's gonna be, what's gonna happen, and that just kind of came out of left field. Even though I knew that they would be wrapping up, but It was just like they got there and said, hey, let's do it.
I looked at my phone, and my wife sent a text message saying, the press conference was on TV, and I was like, press conference, and I'm like, wow, did I miss that?
You know what? I would have to go back and look. But sometimes they'll announce that they're going to do it, like on the very early morning news. And if they're going to, I don't know if they would announce a day in advance that they're going to announce tomorrow, but they might say, hey, later this afternoon, we're going to have a press conference. So we need to check that. We need to check media for that day early and see if they announce that. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about that because I was told the same way. Somebody said, hey, or they tagged me in it or something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think a lot of us got it that way because by the time I actually could log in and see what was going on, it was close to over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if the latest hair that I was doing, if she hadn't have been on Facebook at that moment, just scrolling through, like I wouldn't have known until it was over.
Let me ask you guys this. In the press conference, they displayed still pictures from the incident. What were your thoughts on them putting those still pictures out and them giving us a narrative of the timeline instead of just putting out the body cam footage and letting us see that?
Me personally, I feel like the body cam footage is either going to exonerate or indict you. So with them not giving us not even 5 to 10 seconds, of footage at a time, it's kind of weird. If you can release still images from the body cam footage, why can't you release the entire body cam footage knowing that there are bystander videos that are floating around?
Well, I think they listen. You're not until we see all of the videos, and I ain't talking about one body cam, all the body cams, all the other video, whatever. It's hard for us to paint a complete picture, and I think that they still have some culpability. You saw that they were about to do a internal investigation. They still have, even though the DA has said he's not going to try to prosecute those officers, they still are doing an internal investigation or into it or whatever. So I think that they understand that and this is a hypothetical, okay? I don't want people to take this out of context and be like, well, they said this. No, they didn't say this. Trent is making this up as a devil's advocate sort of situation. So some of it is state of mind. Okay, what were they saying at that time? You know what I'm saying? How does this escalate? All of that stuff is also evidence, and it could be evidence that they did something wrong, and that's what they're looking at to see if they did everything procedurally right too. Because if they escalated that situation, it wasn't per their requirements or rules or regulations or whatever, they still have a lot of culpability. And I think they don't want us to understand that before they can flesh it out.
Yeah, and you were speaking to mind state. They don't ever talk about the mind state of the officers in
Right.
situation. They always bring up Dana's mind state and Sherelle's mind state in that moment, but they never talk about anger levels, temper levels of the officers involved.
Yeah, and I've had an officer go red on me. I call it go red when you can see the veins pop out their neck when they talking to you. And you're like, whoa, this dude got a gun too? Man, it ain't funny. I'm laughing, but it ain't funny. It is a very scary situation to be in.
I had a similar thought. Why are they not releasing the body cam footage? There has to be something present that they don't want to get out in the public. With previous cases, they put the narrative out there and they hold on to the body cam footage until they can't hold on to it anymore. Then once the body cam footage is out, you see how they shape the narrative to protect officers. So I'm thinking somewhere, either at the beginning with how they first came on the scene, probably too aggressive, or even at the point when those shots were fired. Because I still have a question about the pause before that last shot. And, all of that troubles me.
I think they learned from their mistakes. And what I mean by that is, you remember when they slammed to the ground Mr. Patel? Yes, the Indian gentleman in Madison.
Yes.
Who was walking around the neighborhood and they just came up and basically accosted that man. That tape came out before the investigation was complete. Then what I'm telling you, they released that tape before the investigation is finished. They're telling us that they won't release anything until it's all finished. But in that case, they released it before. The same police department, Madison Police Department, 6 days after. Now, on that tape, there was also audio. And you could hear what they were saying. What they were saying amplified the indignity of the situation. And if there's stuff like that on that tape, I'm pretty certain they don't want you to hear it. They don't want me to hear it. They don't want us to hear it. And I think they learned from that they need to wait and see, exactly what's being said on there. That's what it seems to me. They're trying to protect something. Even if the situation visually shows what they need to show, or to exonerate the officers' actions, but still their actions are under scrutiny because we don't know what was said or if procedures were followed. Procedures was the word I was looking for. If procedures were all followed. So I think they're protecting themselves until they evaluate all of that stuff against the tape. Because we quick. You know what I'm saying? If there's something wrong in that tape, we gonna find it. So like you said, it might be a narrative thing, but I think also it might be a culpability thing. Even if it's a culpability thing, to me, that's what transparency is. I agree completely. I'm just talking in terms purely of what their rationale may be. I'm not saying I condone it.
Understand? And
because some on that tape might cost that city a lot of money.
And
you know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. Some on that tape might cost that city a lot of money.
So let's do this. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to get in a segment of dollars and cents, and then we'll be right back here in just a moment, folks. This is Conversations Around the Coffee Table, and we'll be back.
This segment of Dollars and Cents is brought to you by thewealthculture.com, where we share behaviors to help cultivate financial prosperity in our households and communities. On today's episode of Dollars and Cents, let's talk about budgeting for travel expenses. Many people feel that traveling to certain places or even traveling at all is beyond their financial capabilities. Well, with a little planning, people who feel they cannot afford to travel actually can. Having a budget can empower you and your family to travel to destinations near and far. Having a budget will also help you control your spending. For those who don't necessarily have to worry about the financial responsibilities related to affording to travel, they may be more concerned about limiting how much they spend and keeping travel costs at a reasonable amount. Having a budget will help you with that as well. Your budget empowers you to save. Likewise, your budget empowers you to spend as little or as much as you want. Once you identify your financial goals and responsibilities, you direct your budget to guide you to your goal. Your budget is like having a GPS for your money. You tell it where to go. Once you pick out your destination, where you want to stay, the activities you want to do, and the foods you want to eat, you will have a good idea of how much money you will need for travel expenses. You may want to work with a travel professional to ensure you have taken everything into consideration. Since you now understand how much a trip is going to cost, you can identify it as a financial goal. And you can now set up your budget to help you meet that goal. As an example, let's say you need to save $3,400 for your trip. You need to identify how much money you can set aside each month to save toward paying for your trip. For some people, it might take a few months to save up the needed amount. For others, it could take a year or longer. If it is going to take longer to save the needed amount, don't be discouraged. Keep in mind one of my favorite mantras, which is the African proverb, little by little, a little becomes a lot. Once you reach your goal and go on your trip, you will be glad you put in the effort. The experience will be well worth it. You may also want to consider ways to earn additional income while you're saving up for your trip. Doing this may help you reach your goal more quickly. Next time on Dollars and Cents, we will discuss how you can use your budget to help you spend more responsibly while you are traveling. I am Miss D, and this has been another segment of Dollars and Cents on Real Talk with Jay, brought to you by thewealthculture.com.
Thank you, Ms. D, with another segment of Dollars and Cents. And we're back with conversations around the coffee table. And we're going to continue with our discussion where we were talking about the DA's press conference and kind of some of the after actions that we're looking to happen now that, the DA has released his findings. The community is still demanding the release of body cam footage. Outside of legislation being put in place to mandate the release of body cam footage, do you guys think we will ever get a chance to see what's on those tapes?
I think eventually we will. I'm of the mind that we can ask as much as they want to, as long as they're not legally obligated to do it, because we don't have any laws on the books. And this community is going to accept that in majority, then they're going to wait till all the investigations are done before they release that tape.
Do you think once the investigation is complete, they'll release it then?
I certainly hope they'll at a minimum allow the family to see. As far as the public is concerned, will we still be demanding? You know what I'm saying? I think they won't have the excuse after it's all said and done if we're still demanding. So we have to stay vigilant in terms of that. But right now I don't. Before the investigations are done, I just don't see it personally.
Yeah, we're definitely
What do you
have
think?
to force their hand. Like I feel like we're gonna definitely have to force their hand to even release it once the investigations are complete. They're gonna hold on to it because there's something on the tape. There has to be, because like I said earlier, if it could exonerate the officers and bring the situation to a close, they would do it so that there's better community and police engagement, quote unquote. They would let it out and say, we did everything we could. We did it by the book. It's standard, here it is. But there has to be something else on that tape, because why would you just show the stills? If it's an investigation, that's part of the investigation. If you can't show the whole video, all the body cam footage, why are you just showing the stills?
And you know what? I think they showed them stills for for our community. They like, we got to give them something. I think, you know what I'm saying? I think that the pressure that was exerted helped them understand, how wounded this community is not knowing. Because to me, it hurt. I didn't know the guy, but I'm like, show us, show us something. Let us know that this man did not just get murdered in cold blood.
Yeah, you don't want to believe it, even though we're still in Alabama, you still, you want to think that the police will be fair in an assessment of what they have to do.
Yeah.
On social media, we've seen people have concerns regarding the authenticity of those still images. Do you guys have any concerns about the authenticity of those pictures?
I do. I have a lot of questions that go against the authenticity of the stills in comparison to the bystander videos. There are a lot of things that are different to me personally, to the naked eye. One of the things I noticed was the light post. It wasn't in the photo. The amount of cops were different still, and also his arm never crossed his body, and that was the main thing that they were trying to get across, that his arm was extended towards the officer. But from the video, you never see his arm extend across his body.
Well, they gave you still pictures. We don't have no video. We don't have no video. I'm leaning a little more towards, they probably are authentic. I've been, doing my assessment about the digital quality and researching, how you fake pictures and stuff like that. And it just doesn't seem like it's, like it's been altered. If that's the guy, if that's how he looked, then it's hard to argue. And, I don't know. I'm like 50-50, but I'm inclined to believe that the pictures are authentic, but they don't do for me what a video would.
Let me ask you this. During the town hall meeting, Kevin Turner indicated that Dana stood and extended his arm. Even in those still pictures, we don't see that.
Right, but I'm saying there's a lot of pictures in a video. You know what I'm saying? A photo is just one very infinitesimally small instant in time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It doesn't show what happened the very next second even.
Well, they released more than one photo.
Right. I think that it just looks like they were trying to find a picture of a body cam, because how many police were out there? Like 5 or 6?
Right. I believe it was 5 or 6.
Okay.
Well, at least 5 were put on administrative duty.
It looked like they were trying to pick a picture out of one of those 6 body cams that showed the angle that they wanted to show that his firearm was facing the officer. And they just clicked that picture. But that doesn't mean that that's the total story. You know what I'm saying? But it does show. It looks like if you analyze that picture, it looks like it's coming from the perspective of an officer who was reaching for his, I guess it was his right hand. And the picture that I saw, we don't have a way to show that we're all thinking about the same picture. But and they had a circle around his, I guess his left hand, showing, and it was from that angle of that picture, it looked like it was pointed in the direction of that office. But there are 1,000 pictures before, and there's 1,000 pictures afterwards. You know what I'm saying?
I guess the pictures that I saw, there were a series of frame sets where it looks like they were pulling him out of the vehicle, and he was pretty much seemed like he was heading down to the ground. I guess that seemed to be the time frame when, at least from what Kevin Turner was explaining, that we should have seen Dana stand, or that's the only point in that incident, I think, where that opportunity would have presented itself for him to stand and extend his arm. And I guess those were some very specific words that I heard Kevin Turner use, and those are some very specific actions we don't see.
It might be interpretation too, because I had talked with an officer before the stuff come out, and we had a discussion about what armed meant. You know what I'm saying? We talked about what armed meant to him and what it meant to me, and our interpretations were different. Whereas armed means that he had access to a firearm or whatever, he was armed. And mine was it in his hand? This is all before the pictures came out. I was like, there are 2 different things there. So I'm not trying to make an excuse for Kevin Turner. I'm just saying their perception of extend might mean like raised up rather than pointed to the ground. Or, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what he meant by that. But to us, to all of us, I'm quite certain that means that he fully extended his arm.
Right. Well, I guess in most fields of occupation, you have jargon that you use with your peers. Then you have language that you use with customers or external business partners. To me, well, I guess they've proven that they don't do that. But to me, it would be very common sense.
Your language.
To me, it would be very common sense.
Buddy, we are still in Alabama.
But it seemed like they would use language that would be common for the people that they're talking to their audience, and not continue to use the same jargon that they use amongst their peer group.
Well, I know people do that sometimes just to keep you a little bit off, kilter. You know what I'm saying? They don't want you to understand everything they're saying, so they use their language. There's a little security in the ambiguity.
There is.
You know, it allows them wiggle room for a narrative perspective.
In my opinion, I think we're at a point where we really have to sit down and look at police procedures, look at police training, and literally rip it all up. It needs to be rewritten. The procedures, the training, because they're still using tactics that were used 40, 50 years ago. It's time for an upgrade to our police procedures. In other countries, some police officers don't even carry guns. In those police departments,
Those countries, though, that they don't, the citizens aren't allowed to have guns.
True. Well, they aren't allowed to have guns, but you have certain criminals who still get their hands on guns.
Have all the guns you want. So what's that?
I said, in those countries, for those criminals that want to get their hands on guns, they still get their hands on guns. And those police departments don't experience the number of interactions that become deadly. I think there are other tactics that can be applied in situations where we currently use deadly force. And typically they reflect back on, well, that's how we're trained. In the business world, if you identify an outcome that occurs and that's not the outcome you want, you figure out how to come up with a different outcome. You initiate different behaviors, different practices. You figure out how to do things differently, but we continue to do the same thing. And that just doesn't make sense to me.
Definition of insanity. So you got that one pegged dead to right. You got that one pegged dead to right, and there's a lot we need to do different. I've been checking out the group. I haven't had as much time to be in the group, actively, but I have been doing a lot of reading and studying. And there are a lot of people with a lot of ideas about what we need to do to proceed forward that we can do to change this stuff. But we have to have action too.
And speaking on action, we had some action steps at the end of our last episode. We had some takeaways that we wanted to try to act on. And me personally, my takeaway was I was going to go and be present at the NAACP meeting and join. So I had the opportunity to do that. I was able to learn some things about the NAACP that I think I have a better understanding of why there's a gap between community expectations and NAACP operations. And so one of the things that I'm going to try to work from the inside of the NAACP is to bridge those gaps.
Right. I haven't joined the NAACP yet, but I'm getting ready to. I actually applied for their Next Generation Young Leadership Program.
Okay.
So in January, I found out if I got accepted or not, and I'm still going to be working with the NAACP. I think they have a call tonight about the census, but I've been, on their national calls and doing all this stuff to see what I can do in the meantime until I do actually get my application done.
Okay.
Outstanding. I'm going to be joining you soon, Jemai, in that joining the NAACP, because I'm not going to say I was disappointed, but I was kind of frustrated that we have this organization that has a long history. And we think about what they did during the civil rights movement. they accomplished a lot. And I know everybody wants to start a new this and a new that, but we also have to keep our ground organization strong as well.
Right.
There's no problem with you saying, hey, these are issues that need to be addressed. The NAACP can't cover everything. This is our lane, and we're going to do it. That's perfectly fine. But we also need to remember the NAACP, legal defense lawyers, and all of that infrastructure that they have in place is important too. When you start a new organization, you don't have all of those things all the time, and those things take money and time to acquire.
Right.
We need to use those institutions that already have those things in place. We just need to educate them on what we need.
And I agree.
Help us.
I feel like we did kind of weaken our organizations because when, the NAACP was doing everything during the Civil Rights era, some of those tactics got outdated. Instead of us staying in and trying to change from the inside, we left as a people, as a community, and kind of left them hanging. So we do have to go back to our organizations that have the name, like who else has the name like the NAACP as far as social movements in America. So we have to go back to those movements and in those organizations, National Urban League and 100 Black Men of America and all these other organizations, and, say, hey, this is what's going on now. Thank you for the scholarships. Thank you for, the community service you do, but we have social issues that we need your names behind. So the only way that we can do that is if we join these organizations.
That's right.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And people with good ideas. I've seen some great ideas in that group. Guess who has one of the largest organizations that can help you implement some of those ideas for our community? How about the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People?
Exactly.
It's right there. It's right there in the name, man. You know what I'm saying? I was thinking, it's not just social justice, but we're talking about a lot about economic empowerment and stuff. Let's bring that into the fold of the NAACP, because economic empowerment would advance us as well.
Right.
Yep. It's a multi-pronged leg we need to stand on. So I think I'm in complete agreement. I got back involved in some other civic responsibilities that I've been involved in, because I'm like, you know what? We just can't let this go. We are the next generation. And I say that because you guys are probably a good bit younger than I am. But it ranges because you guys are intellectually astute. You know what I'm saying? Y'all are wise guys. You have a lot of energy, and we need all the generations to be in coordination together. That's where I keep transfer. Yeah,
because we have to transfer that knowledge. You have the younger people that are more energetic, but you do have the older generation that has the knowledge that have done these type of things. They can tell you where they went wrong. We can build on our elders.
Exactly. We shouldn't just throw that away.
I definitely agree. Hopefully, we'll be able to be part of an impactful change with the community and help reestablish some of those lost bonds between the community and that revered organization that we all grew up hearing about, seeing, and we can make that be what we grew up being accustomed to.
The organization we respect.
All right, so we are just about out of time for today. I appreciate you guys for jumping on and getting involved in the discussion today. I know it was kind of last minute, getting everything planned. And after the new year, we'll be coming back together. Hopefully we'll have the whole crew where we will be able to continue to follow up on this case. We can touch on other social justice opportunities that exist in our area, in our state, talk about criminal justice reform, and link in the 2020 elections at a local and state level, because all of those things are going to have big impacts on social justice and criminal justice reform as we move forward. So Trent and Terrance, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for the invite. We appreciate it.
This is Conversations Around the Coffee Table, and we will see you next time.